I'm just going to walk you through Facebook's Audience Insights tool. So you can get to that in the top left-hand corner. You want to go to All Tools, and you can see it here in Planning. So Audience Insights. So it's going to come up with three options. We're going to go through the top one today, but what you can do is analyze the sort of characteristics and makeups of users on Facebook in general. People connected to your page, so people who are fans of your page or a page that you're an admin of, or people who are within one of your custom audiences. So an email list, for example, you can, once you've uploaded the email list, you can select it as a custom audience here, and you'll get breakdowns of demographics, ages, marital status, pages they're most likely to like. So we're going to do that for everyone on Facebook here. So by default, it is United States. I'm just going to change that to Australia. And what we can see is we're looking at 15 to 20 million monthly active people on Facebook in Australia. So that's the only criteria we have set at the moment is users within Australia. We've got 18 plus, gender all. So this is where you can play around with different settings. So custom audience is the one that I mentioned before. If you have an existing custom audience, you can select it here and have a look at the demographic breakdowns and of those users. What we're going to do though is we're going to just enter an interest and have a quick look. So you can see just by clicking on that the categories that show up. Facebook categorizes all of their audiences, and these are the interests. So you can see entertainment, for example. If you went into movies, you can see different categories of movies, so you can get quite granular into what you want to have a look at. And these are the same interests that you can target within your ads manager account when you're actually looking to run your ads. So we're just going to do beauty as an example here. So if I was to if I'm looking for a breakdown of users interested in beauty, so that's a subcategory here of shopping and fashion. As you can see, it gives you an indication of how Facebook is categorizing this interest of beauty. So it's telling us that 67% of people interested in beauty are female. We've got about 7 to 8 million monthly active people on the platform within Australia. It's telling us that the majority of those users are 25 to 34, and that's both for males and females. It's telling us that the blue box here is higher than the grey box, which means that users interested in beauty are slightly more likely to be within the ages of 25 to 34 than the average Facebook user. It's telling us that they're 12% more likely to be engaged than the average Facebook user. So that's something to take into consideration. If you were looking to target users interested in beauty, targeting a relationship status of engaged is one option you could look at. It's telling us that users interested in beauty are most likely, 13% more likely than the average Facebook user to be working in healthcare and medical services, 11% more likely than the average user to be working in community and social services, and also food and restaurants. So this is really valuable information in sort of understanding the users that you're looking to target. You can also toggle over to page likes here, and that's going to give us the top categories that users interested in beauty are also interested in. So number one, jewelry and watches, furniture, just for fun, clothing and brands. You got health and beauty down here. So if you wanted to get more granular and target specific brands, this is one way that you could get some insight into specific brands that his users are interested in. So Sephora, Michelle Bridges, The Healthy Mummy, are all things that you could look at. Clothing brands like Boohoo, Victoria's Secret, H&M. And if you scroll down further, what this is telling us is that Boohoo.com is the most relevant for our audience that we're looking to target, so users interested in beauty, and they are 224 times more likely than the average Facebook user to also, to like the Boohoo page. So you could search in the interest bar when you're setting up your ads, Boohoo, Victoria's Secret. I'd be searching for Sephora, Pandora, and I'd be looking to target all of these interests so that I can sort of get a better get more granular in targeting these users. So we can also have a look at a location breakdown. So this is telling us the top cities, and I'm just going to filter by selected audience here. So as expected, Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth make up the largest percentages as they're metro cities, and there's a lot of population there. But if you look at areas such as Brisbane City here and also Sunshine Coast and Hobart, this is where Sunshine Coast, for example, users interested in beauty are 17% more likely than the average Facebook user to live in this area. So if you're looking at location targeting, that's something you would take into consideration. Anywhere where that blue line is exceeding the lighter blue or the grey line means that there's a higher propensity for these users to be in this area. So these are some of the things that you can look at. You can also see device breakdowns, phones. So we know that users interested in beauty, if you wanted to target by specific devices, iPhones and iPads might be the way to go here. They're more likely to click on ads and like pages or posts, and pages. So this can help inform the objective that you might use in targeting these users. Obviously, it would also depend on the KPI of your campaign and your business objectives as a whole, but that's something that you can take into consideration. So if we just remove beauty and take it back to sort of the raw data, so back to that 15 to 20 million active users, let's have a look at some different advanced options here. And I'm just going to toggle to maybe relationship status. So that's the engaged one that we saw previously. We can look at parental status. So say you wanted to target parents with young kids, so parents with children between the ages of 0 and 5. So you can see here, there 59% of that audience is female, so heavily female audience again. But what we can also see here is that 67% are married. So I'd be looking for volume at targeting the married audience, which makes sense. You're looking at parents with young kids, also engaged. So apparently 138% more likely to be engaged than the average Facebook user. So that users, sorry, parents with young kids, that also makes sense. Looking at job titles, you can target by job titles specifically. So this is telling us that parents with young kids are most likely to be working in production, installation, repair services, farming, fishing, forestry, and also transportation and moving. So if we jump over to page likes, we can see a similar breakdown where we're looking at more baby type categories, clothing, local businesses, health and beauty. So specifically baby goods, kids goods, you can see Rafferty's Garden, Phillips Event, and babies and children clothing. So you can see Little Edie, Groovy Babies, Gift Shop My Teddy. So these are things I'd be looking to target in interest. Obviously not all of them are going to be available because these could be specific pages, and often Facebook, you can't specifically target competitor pages. However, if there's a relevant interest, or if you're looking to target Sephora, for example, you can't specifically target fans of their Facebook page. But because there's probably going to be a lot of activity around that brand, Facebook is likely to have an interest segment related to that brand. So I think the larger ones that you see here are most likely to have an interest category specifically surrounding them. You can see more here. I think it goes up to maybe 50 or so. So there's all different kind of categories, and this can really help infer your targeting. So TV shows, even what TV shows are they most likely to be interested in? So you can break out your ad sets based on these categories and say, in one ad set, I'm going to target sort of what TVs and music they're interested in, and then for another one, you could be specific health and beauty products or something like that. Page likes. So this is telling us that parents with young kids are 1,560 times more likely to like the page Rafferty's Garden. So this has come up again, Phillips Event. As you can see, we could see them up in the category section as well, just here. So these are specific pages and interests that I'd be looking to try and target if that segment is available. Huggies as well, that makes sense. Definitely want to be looking to target them. Location-wise, you can see that they're 69% more likely to be living in Brisbane City, and they're actually less likely, these users, to be living in Melbourne and Sydney than the average Facebook user. So if you wanted to weight your location, target your budget towards locations where they're most likely to be hanging out, you could do Brisbane City, Gold Coast, Hobart, Greater Geelong, Newcastle. There's going to be less population there. But for small budget, that could be an approach that you could take to try and get as granular as possible. So these are all things that you can look at to better infer your targeting for your ad sets when you're creating your ads, even your ad copy, and find out different characteristics about these users. If you like this video, hit the bottom right hand corner. There'll be a subscribe button there, and I'm going to be releasing around 2 videos per week with real specific how-to style Facebook tutorials with a screen share, so it's easy to follow.